Okay, thanks for patiently waiting, everybody. I'm going to get started right now. So, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. And I got the chat right above me here in another window, and I will watch for your comments coming in, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. So, we're going to get rolling here. So, I'm going to start actually by just discussing the economic calendar here real quick because I don't. There's a ton of news coming out for Tuesday, so here's the deal with the news. Tons of euro, okay? Tons of euro USD news. We're going to go through the euro here in a minute. There's probably going to be some signals coming out for the euro either later today or tomorrow and Thursday. So just so you know, just because of all this news and everything, there won't be a ton on the euro. There's also a whole bunch on the US dollar, which is going to affect pretty much every pair that we trade. Core durable goods, Fed chair, and these two down here don't really matter too much. And then we got CB consumer confidence. So there's just a plethora of news. I'll be perfectly honest with you, you don't really want to be doing a lot of trading today. Just because the markets could whipsaw, especially on the euro, and then anything attached to the with the U.S. dollar, obviously it could see a little bit of movement as well too. It could be muted, it could be nothing to worry about, or it could be like a non-farm or an FOMC event, which is could be, it could run the market in either direction, 100 pips more. So you really don't know. So it would be advisable to hold off, and we'll probably pick up some trades after New York opens. So we start looking at the markets at about 8 o'clock a.m. New York time, and the markets really start going about 8:30, as you can see here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to wait. We'll watch where price is going, and we'll pick up some key levels here this evening to watch for, and we might be able to get a couple of trades off. But I'm not going to be recommending any trades for the major pairs or anything until this news passes, just because of exactly what I just said. So we'll look at some areas where I think price could reach to, and we'll look at some setups for later in the week, with the possibility of some trades coming out after New York open tomorrow. So. From there, again, there's a pile of US dollar stuff all the way down. There's some CAD in here, and then some yen towards the end of the day on Tuesday. Some Kiwi news in here, and the pound dollar. The pound sterling has some low impact news events which shouldn't do anything, but it's a little weird that they'd be that late in the day. But I'll kind of watch for that, and then that's pretty much it. And then going into tomorrow, Wednesday, it's a little bit more conducive for trading. There's some medium impact or low impact news for the euro, which is nice to see, and some Swissy, a little more euro, some medium impact news, and some stuff. Now there is some stuff for the US dollar. Prelim GDP numbers are coming out, but it's only one major news event, so it shouldn't drive it too badly. And then a couple medium impact here. So we could get some nice movement on Wednesday. And then, of course, we got crude oil inventories here. So what I'm trying to drive at here, guys, is tomorrow isn't necessarily going to be the best day for trading, just because the market could whipsaw a little bit. But we will watch for some price levels here, and I think the earliest we'd be sending out trade signals for for today would be after the New York Open. So you can watch for that, but we're going to just quickly run down the U.S. dollar index here, so we can get an idea where we stand. Now I did a video on Sunday on the several levels to watch for, and some areas that we've got our eye on for the U.S. dollar, for the pound dollar, for oil, and a couple other commodities, and Bitcoin, of course. And so far it looks like it's trading kind of as per what I wanted to see. Now, basically, if you guys give me a thumbs up or yeah, I did, watch that video, and then I won't need to go into this too much detail. But What we're looking at here is price is trading in consolidation right now. Okay, so price came all the way down, came back up, just broke that old low right here, and then resumed its upward trend again, and it's failed to come above these highs again. So we are in a consolidation range. It didn't start up here. I'm just noting it just so you can see the consolidation. But it basically started right here. So it created the low, and then it started right here where it traded back down, and then now we've just been chopping. So really what's going to happen here is I believe that these highs here, they're equal highs up there, they are going to get taken out. Now, if we are trading consolidation, this could last for the next month. It could last for 2 months. I mean, let me just point something out here for you. See the little chop that we're in right here? Look at over here. Look at this chop. Like this lasted for months on end, right? Look at this, right? Same thing as down here. This is a little more compressed. But look at this, like it just traded in here. This was for like 2 years it did this. So I'm not suggesting that we're going to be trading in that for the next 2 years by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think we could be in this small little tight trading range for the next little while. Now it's okay because we can still, as long as the areas are identified, our support and resistance areas are identified, we can trade off of that and we can successfully trade very, very well and make a great living doing it. But you just got to know that, you know, we're not necessarily in a bull or a bear market when it's doing this. It's just, it's consolidating, it's picking up orders, and who knows how long they're going to do it for. Like I say, it could be days, it could be months, it could be weeks, it could be years. But what I'd like to see this week, so we have dollar made a low, took out the stops here, and then it rejected and it's running higher. And then price last week, it failed to penetrate the high. It basically bounced off this tiny 3-day consolidation here. Rejected, and now it's been trading on an inside range ever since. So this was Friday, Monday's, and this is today's candle right now. Monday's candle did a nice job of coming down here, and see this line that I had marked off here. I wanted to see price if it would want to jab down here and reject. It's done that. So one of two things is going to happen. Obviously, it's going to go down or it's going to go up. I think though that we've done this and we've rejected, I think now we're going to start to see the market move higher. And on this feed here, there was a little bit of a gap that was created. I'll just put the day dividers on so you can see that gap that was created here from yesterday to today's open. So prices come back up, filled that. Now it could want to come back down and take out this low, and then we'd see where price wants to go after that. But this was a nice low here. Like you see how it creates this low here. That's conducive to like a low like here where price stabs down once and it never comes back there again, right? Price stabbed down there once and it traded off very, very nicely. Now it did come up and take out some short-term highs in here. So what we could see doing is price wanting to either trade back down to this level here. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. We could see price trading back down to this level here. Or it may want to come down a little bit deeper, kind of into this area right here. So we got to watch for that coming up here, and see if it closed the gap here, and see how prices kind of wick, and now it's starting to roll over. So I just want to see how deep this goes. If we take out these lows here, then we're going to want to come back down and test this area here. If it breaks this area, then we're going to be coming down all the way back down to here. But I don't necessarily think we need to do that. This is a fairly balanced price range in here, and price has just been stair-stepping nicely off of these levels. It's come back down, traded to the old high almost. That's why I say almost. It may want to come back down and do that one more time before it trades higher. So what I'm hoping to see is that this was the low. Again, want to see how deep this comes back down, but I'm hoping that this right in here was the low. And if that is the low, we'll go back to the daily. This is where I think we're going to see price heading for the rest of the week. So it's either typically Monday or Tuesdays create either the low or the high, and then price will trade in the opposite direction for the week. And to finish off higher. So what I'd like to see is something like this happen. I don't think it's going to happen today or Wednesday, but it could happen in Thursday and maybe even Friday. Price will, I'm hoping, trade up like this and grab those stops. Now, this box here, this is not delineating anything. It's not a level or anything. It's just to show you that we're in a consolidation range here. I'm going to take it off in a minute. Actually, I can take it off right now. So what I'm looking to see is price's reaction. If price comes all the way up to this level here, I want to see it show some willing. So I want to see today do basically this. Assume this is a bull candle. Come up and just start to take out the body highs of here. Okay. If it does that, then I'll only have a pretty good shot of doing potentially this tomorrow. Okay. Assume this is Wednesday's candle now. So Wednesday comes in, pokes up, kind of takes the highs out here, and then Thursday I'd like to see this. Now this is the candle that I don't know if it's going to happen specifically in the sequence or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, it could happen all today, on Tuesday. But what I'm driving at here is I want to see what happens when price gets above this high. Does it A, want to just basically poke its head up, like this, grab the liquidity and all the buy stops that are resting above this area here where I have this X mark? And then it wants to retrace. So basically you'll see a wick come up here, and then the body will close below this level here and below these candles highs. So something maybe more like this. So you see where these bodies are right here. The body of this, I want to see if it has a willingness to close higher than those. Then I think we'll continue higher. If it does not have any willingness, if it just kind of peaks up, grabs the stops like I say, and then wicks up there, but the body closes below here, then I think we're going to resume our course to the downward again, and we're going to stay in this consolidation area. So that's kind of, these are obviously supposed to be daily candlesticks, so that's kind of what I'm looking to see is going to happen, is if we're going to close above these highs and continue higher, or if it indeed is just going to pop its head up, grab liquidity, and go down. And then the other thing as well too that could happen, just keep this in mind, I think we are going to see an update. I think Monday was probably the low. I think we are going to see an update. We could see some whipsaw action though, because I mentioned earlier, for those of you that just joined us, there is some pretty serious news coming out for the US dollar index. So we could get some whipsaw and price action. Don't rule it out that it could come down and wick down and just take out the lows here briefly and then resume higher. That is an option as well too. It's either Monday or Tuesday that create the low of the week if we're going to have a bullish finish to the week. So we've created a nice low on Monday here, and price so far is starting to reject that low and wanting to trade higher, but we've got to see what's going to happen moving forward. So we'll watch for that. So if we do have a bullish bias to the US dollar, we're going to look quickly at the Euro USD. We're going to have bearish ideas for this. Now again, I'm not trading the Euro USD today because there is a ton of news coming out for this, and the price could really whipsaw this thing back and forth. So I've got another analyst who will be trading this live via webinar Wednesday morning. London Open at 12 a.m. midnight New York time. So you'll get live trading on there, and he may even put a signal out late tomorrow. Once all of the major news events have concluded and prices settle down a bit, then we'll be looking at issuing some trades in the Euro USD, but we are looking for continued bearishness in the Euro USD, and that's again only based on the US dollar having a bullish outlook. Now again, today will tell. If price closes down below this low today, then the price is going to want to trade lower. So we've got to keep that in mind. We always got to be watching what the dollar index is going to do in relation to the pairs that it's coupled with. Obviously, if this isn't your first time joining me, you already know this because I've taught this at length, and you should know already. But again, we've had some nice price actions. Going to get rid of some shrapnel on this charts here. We've had some nice areas to trade in here. Issued a couple of trades on this last week that panned out nicely. Excuse me. There's one on Friday as well too that panned out, and really we were just kind of trading chop in here from Friday, so there wasn't a ton in here, but price has really been going sideways, which means, and keep this in mind, all of these news events that are coming out today, look what this thing has been doing. It's just been trading sideways, sideways, sideways. Market makers typically use big news events like the ones coming up today to really drive the markets one way or another. So you see what it's doing. It's just trading in a fairly tight consolidation range. Don't expect that to continue after today. You probably will see an explosive move happening like this here, or an explosive move like this happening. You see how they just really constrict and keep the market nice and tight where they're building up all of their orders, and then as soon as those orders get released, boom, you get a crazy move upwards or downwards. In this case, I think we're going down, and the reason why is because I think, well, one, obviously because the US dollar, I think, was going to run up here and grab these highs. But two, if you look at this, where prices come from, so I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So we've been in a nice bullish uptrend here, okay? Nice big bull uptrend. And I'm not going to go into this too much detail. You can see here, prices bounced off this trend line. Trend line, trend line, trend line, trend line. This is what they call a retail trader's trend line trap. So it's given us nice confluence, nice signal to buy, nice signal to buy. Everybody right now is getting long on this market. But you got to look what price has been doing, okay? We've come down here, all right? Price started trading up here. Let's see if we can zoom out one more time. I can't, good. So you can see this nice bull run up here, okay, where they came up and there's a ton of liquidity under all of these areas, all the way up to here, and where they came up and they ran price up, ran it up one more time, failed to get up there, dropped it lower, and everyone's thinking, oh, it's going to be a long here, back down in support, and it's going to rip up. They came down and aggressively took the stops down here, and then they ran it back up. Well, they haven't come down to take the liquidity since down here, so they've got a lot of liquidity built up in the market. They tried to come down here once and rallied off of that, took the highs, but they did not come down and grab any and soak up any liquidity. So there's a ton of liquidity under here, under these areas. The first area that I'd be looking at for price to come down to is this 120.90 big figure, this blue line right here. I think that if there are any bulls on the Euro USD, just check yourself for a little bit here. Maybe neutralize or hedge your positions if you can, because I do believe that we could be in for some serious downside on the Euro USD, and I think price is going to come down aggressively and take out these stops here, like I say, because they just didn't do it here. They had the chance to do it, right? They had the chance to come deeper in here and soak up some liquidity. They didn't do it. They came down once, came down twice, boom, smoked it up, and took out the buy stops up here, and then immediately fell off. So that's a bit of a sign that it took the liquidity on the upside, but it has not taken it on the downside yet. So I think what we're going to see is tomorrow, what I believe they're going to do is they're probably going to, you see how it's not necessarily equal highs here, but you see how they've kind of come up and didn't do anything, and come up and just maybe by a pip or so took out the high here and then dropped it, and they're coming back up again. What I think we could see happen is price aggressively run to the upside, probably get up into this area and take out all of the stops up here, all of the buy stops above the market for everyone who's right, who's going short, by 10, 20, or 30 pips. And maybe even up to this level here. I've got 23.80 on the chart, but I mean, it may not come up that high. It could only want to come up to here. The low is in here. We'll have to watch where that goes in. So that's either 23.70 or 23.80. But I expect these buy stops to get swept and then them to drop the price off. And I think they're going to be dropping off aggressively, and I think they're going to come down to here. So I believe we have much lower price to the downside on the euro. Again, I could be wrong. It all is going to depend on the US dollar and what it's going to do here. So if the US dollar wants to go up, it will send the Euro USD down. If the US dollar, if this is the high of the week on the Euro dollar, and the rest of the week is going to continue down, then I believe we are going to, one second guys. Sorry, folks. Just had someone come in my office there. Just had to deal with real quickly. Where was I here? So yeah, so the Euro USD. I'm not going to go again too much into this. There's going to be a lot of news, and we will see some whipsaw, but I do believe it will be to the downside. And again, what will negate that is obviously if this starts falling off. So if Monday was the high, and we are indeed going to see a big bearish candle on the weekly. So if this right here, if this turns out to be a weekly bearish candle, then that's going to mean that the euro will indeed go higher. Thing of it is, I don't know that it's going to go higher. I do believe that we are going to see lower prices, but we're going to have to wait and see on that. So like I say, no signals on the Euro USD. I want to wait and see what the news does, and then we'll come back to this. We will be issuing out trades after today for the euro, so you can watch for that. The pound dollar. Now, I just want to kind of get a gauge. Sometimes you have to get a gauge from the pound dollar and the Euro USD off of the Euro GBP that I have down here, which I guess you guys can't see that on my chart, on my lower chart here, but you can see the Euro GBP here. So these two work in tandem with each other. If this is going up, it means the euro is going to get pushed up, and the pound dollar is going to consolidate or go down. If the Euro USD is consolidating, and this is going down, it means the pound dollar is going up, and the Euro USD is, like I say, consolidating or going down. So right now it's trapped in a huge consolidation run here. Like this. So what I was talking about earlier about consolidations, this has been going on since late 2017. So we've been in this for 5 months now. Big consolidation range. Now, what we're going to see happen here is if this is the low and this pushes up, Euro USD is going to get pushed up as well too. But I think just looking at this, you can see how price again is just sort of stepping down, seeing a lot of wicks to the upside here, wick, and then price fails, and then wick. If price gets higher than this up in here today, we may see, and we could see some movement, right? We've got some big news coming up, so it could whipsaw. Like, look at this big down candle right here. That was probably a result of news happening. If that happens, we could see it whip up, reject, and then come down. And if that's the case, again, the Euro USD should fall off. But the pound dollar could see some movement higher. Now, again, you got to go in line with the overall U.S. dollar and what it's doing. I believe we will see bearish bearish outcomes on this pound dollar, but right now we're just kind of trading in a range as well too. See this range it's been in, right? Price has been moving nicely. I mean, you know, last Friday, price gave us, you know, a 300 pip move. I mean, pretty massive for the pound dollar, obviously. And then today was no exception, or sorry, Monday's trading was no exception. If you could have got short there, it would have been a 200 pip move. I mean, so it moves great. However, it's just kind of in an ugly little range right now. But again, if the dollar index goes higher, we should see lower prices on this. And so I want to watch and wait on this one too. I don't think I'm going to issue any signals for this one yet. We could push higher. So what I'd like to see, honestly, here. So you see the highs that were just created here. Let's see if I can get a level off of this here. I'd want to see if price has any interest in pushing higher than the 4100 level. So I don't know that it's even going to get up there. But if price pushes higher than that, then it's going to take out this level, and it's going to want to then eventually come and run up into this consolidation area and take out the highs here. I do think, though, again, with the bullish US dollar, I think we're going to see bearish prices on here. And I've got a couple of levels that I've indicated at below, right here, where I think would be likely targets to get hit on the downside. And what would confirm this is if this 138.55 level gets broken and it closes, we get a candle that closes below here, price will then roll to the downside. But right now, like, you kind of got to look at this. I mean, how do you issue a trade rating here? Again, we are literally at the exact. So if you take this, this low up to the most recent high, we're trading right at the 50% level right here. It's right in the middle of this consolidation. The price could literally go either way. It's 50-50. It's not like it's trading down here and I'd be looking, well, prices started stabbing down. It just kind of came down, took the liquidity and rejected, and now I think we're going to trade higher because the US dollar is going to trade lower, and you know, the Euro GBP is going to do this, that, and the other thing. I'm not getting those signals, and you got to have confluence and a number of factors that are all aligned in order to get directional bias. Right now, long term, I mean, let me just take this off here. Long term, we're going higher, for sure. Okay, I think we're going to want to see, I think they're going to want to erase these Brexit numbers here. I think they're eventually going to come up and tag that out. We've had a nice steady run up. Price came up into this old consolidation range here. I think they want to drop it down a bit lower, grab some of the liquidity under the market, and then continue to run higher. But price isn't going to get there in just one straight shot, right? They have to do this. They have to run it up and run it down, and run it up and run it down, basically stair-step this thing up. So it just came off of a nice bullish run up, and I think they need to come back down, soak up some more liquidity below, again, somewhere right around these two levels right here, and then resume higher. This week, I think, is going to be the week that's going to tell us what it's going to do. You can see here, like, look at the chop the pound dollar's been in here, and nice wick on this candle here. So this was Monday's trading, right? This was yesterday's trading. If we have an idea that the pound dollar is going to finish bearishly on the week, right? This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see confirm this price failure, and then I'd like to see price today start to trade lower. So I just want to, give me 1 second, I just want to bring up the news. I don't think there was any, or if there was, it wasn't a high impact event or anything like that. 1 second. The pound dollar, pound sterling, euro USD, no. So there's nothing on the sterling. So what we could see happen today on the pound, honestly, if their plan is to really move and manipulate the euro on Tuesday, the pound dollar will probably stay in this consolidation. It probably won't break out of this range, if that's their plan. It's one or the other, and you can go back and you can check this. They don't allow them to run both at once at the same time, typically. So I wouldn't be very surprised if price just stays in this chop, in this consolidation range for the rest of today, and then they start releasing it maybe late tomorrow, later today or early tomorrow, to catch up to the Euro USD, just because of the lack of news. And that's my only thoughts on that. So we're gonna have to watch this. But again, like this was last Friday's trading. I mean, that's pretty ugly trading. You could have, if you were in front of the charts at the minute, got along on that position, but you know, really, it's kind of ugly trading. This today, look at that, it put in the high and then completely rejected the high and fell short. Now, you could have been in front of the charts again right at the exact moment up here and said, well, you know, I think we're going to get a failure at this high here and price is going to trade lower. Sure, I mean, you could do that. But also it could have just very easily continued to trade higher. So really, it's tough to gauge that right now. So I can't confidently put on a signal for the pound dollar yet. But again, the levels are as such. I think up here at 141.40, I would be a good target on the upside. And below, right down here, this would be awesome here at 138.50. If we can get price to reject off of the news and whatever the US dollar is going to do and start going down, that's the first level that I'll be looking for. If price does break, so what I'd like to see, if price breaks, I'd like to see, you see this old low right here, or just basically these highs taken out, I think would probably be enough for me. If price were wanting to come and break the highs above here, let's say by, let's get the high on that candle, comes in at 39, call it 39.75, and price were to kind of come up into here about 20 pips. So I'd say about 20 pips above this high. If I saw price do that, I'd be watching to see if it wants to wick. If it just touches 20 pips or less above this high here, I'd be looking at to get short on this and then watching price drop. Now keep in mind, if price slams up here and closes higher like this and creates another candle that goes higher and closes higher above this, they're going to want to take it higher. So don't be getting short. You got to watch price and see what it's doing. But put an alert out on your screen and put an alert out, to get in front of the charts to alert you basically that price has hit 139.90 and see what price does. Like I say, if it closes above this up here, it's not going to be rejection. It's going to go higher. But if it wicks and then wants to start trading lower and doesn't close, if the body of the candle does not close above these highs here, then we're going to start going lower, and that's when we'll be looking at these levels down here as a potential target. And let's say you even got short rate in here, you waited for price to confirm, that's 110 pips. That's a beautiful haul for the day. So we'll be watching for that to transpire here for the pound dollar. But like I say, don't be surprised if they keep it in sideways consolidation until the euro is done doing what it's going to do. And I do think we're going to see some good movement on the euro coming up here. So like I say, I'd like to see these stops, the highs of these stops taken out and then reject lower. But if the US dollar doesn't give us what we want, then all bets are off on that one. Moving forward, the US yen. I just wanted to let you guys know. 1 second. Going forward, for this week, we're going to change up our live trading sessions just a little bit. I want to try and accommodate a little more to when people are in front of the charts. So obviously New York time, 12 a.m. New York time, a few of us can get on there, which is great, and watch the charts and trade with me. But I also want to start offering a few more New York open times at 8 o'clock a.m. New York time. So tomorrow, being Wednesday, we are going to have a live London open session at 12 a.m. New York time. That's not going to change, but we're also going to have an additional session via the New York time at New York open session at 8 a.m. New York time. Okay, so we will tweet out that link when we're ready to go, and we'll be trading the USD, Japanese yen, the S&P 500, and gold. Okay, same trading analyst as our Friday New York open sessions. Okay, Friday's not going to change, so everything else is the same this week. The only thing we're changing, we're adding one more session for the New York Open at 8 a.m. New York time on Wednesday. Okay, I'm sorry. That time may vary a little bit. It may even be 9 a.m. New York time. So just watch for our posts. We'll give you lots of notice, but you can also look for that. And then going forward, I am going to probably change this session. So we're trading the the London Open session. I think I'm going to change this to the New York session and do the, like I say, the 8 a.m. Session. So we'll see how that one pans out. It won't happen this week, but I'll be looking at doing that next week, and then we'll keep that Wednesday New York session open as well that we're doing this week, and then we'll the Friday as well too. But I'm just looking. It's either going to be the Thursday or the Wednesday that I'm going to switch from this London session to a New York session. So just keep that in mind. I know that sounded confusing. I'll type it out here for everybody at the very end if you can remind me. And I'll just maybe make a note to remind myself. Session changes, live session updates. So I'll at the very end I'll just write that out there real quick for you. So I won't be doing anything on the yen right now, just because that'll be my analyst will be talking about that on Wednesday. So if you trade the yen, make sure you join us New York time Wednesday at 9 a.m. and he'll be going through that. U.S. CAD here, you can see price is just again stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping higher. I think we're going to see this get smashed through here very shortly, and I think eventually the highs above here are going to get taken as well too, and that's where I'm looking. I'm looking for these highs to get smashed through 129.20. I think that's a very easily attainable target. So that's what we're going to be looking at here for the next probably week to 2 weeks trading. I want to see this get taken out and smashed through. To be honest with you, I don't trade the U.S. CAD. I've got another analyst who trades this, but Monday's trading would have been a nice session to get long on this one. So I wasn't watching it. I apologize, but I believe we are going to be going higher. Now we just got to watch the U.S. dollar index again. It could push price down one more time and tag off of this area. So it's came down Friday, hit it, came down Monday, hit it. We could come down to one more time, wick into this. If you see price wicking down here into this, that would be a good time to get long, and I would hold out for 12800, a big figure up here. That would be a beautiful trade if you get it. Let's say you got into these lows here. You know, that's a 150 pip trade. So I'm going to be watching that one on the CAD actually myself as well too, and we'll see how that one pans out. I'm just going to make a note of that as well too on my notepad here, make sure that I am watching that. And what is that area down here that we're looking at? I don't know if price will wick down one more time or not, so let's just say off the lows of here, 126.30. Okay, so I just made myself a little note there. Aussie, not much going on in Aussie markets. Price is kind of just chopping sideways here. Kind of came off of a nice little consolidation here, traded back down into it here. Price rejected. Same kind of idea as the pound. It's just sort of sitting sideways, so I don't really want to discuss that right now. Unfortunately, right now, guys, like you can see here, I mean, this is sure. If you're a trend line trader, that's a nice trend line. If you're comfortable with trading off of those trend lines, be my guest, buy it here. Expect higher prices. I don't trade off of these types of trend lines. I have a more accurate way, method of getting price at specific entry points. And I don't necessarily think that we're going to technically see higher prices with this. I think we're going to see lower prices. Just for the record. And this, you got to look at this, right? We had a nice run up here, and then price failed nicely, and we had a rejection up in here. Sorry about all the shrapnel on this chart. I could probably just clean this chart right up, but I think what we're going to see here is price continue downward, and only because the U.S. dollar I think is going to go higher. So I'd like to see these lows swept. This low here tagged off of, and then if we see rejection, then we could get price going higher. From there, but there we go. So that's driving it. So anyway, I don't see anything on the Aussie dollar that I like right now. Crude oil. I'll come back to this one in a second. Bitcoin. I was looking at a gap fill on Bitcoin, which it succeeded in doing, but I was looking for price to fall off. I didn't put out a signal, I just put out a study on this, so you don't have to worry about that. You didn't miss a signal or anything like that, or got stopped out on a signal or anything, but I just wanted to put a study in saying, looking at prices here, I would expect them to fall off and drop down to this area down here. It didn't do that, it just sort of rejected, went higher and pushed through that gap. But you can see what it's done here. It basically came up to this high here, wicked through it once, twice, barely 3 times on this candle right here, this guy right here, and then it's fallen off. So I want to see if price has any willingness. It's actually kind of at a nice spot right here. You see how it looks like price is kind of starting to fail here. If price gets above here and closes above these highs here, then we're probably going to get a little bit higher, and we may see prices up into this level up in here, the 107, 800, 107.75. I would even say maybe this level right here at 10,685 ish. somewhere in around there. I don't think we need to push up. So what I'm driving at here, guys, is I think we're going to see bearish prices, lower prices on Bitcoin. I don't think we need to get back up to this 10,900 level again, because price was already up there once and rejected and then fell off nicely. But what it didn't do is really take out a lot of liquidity. So you see this low here. My argument would be, okay, price came in, or price wants to seek the liquidity below the market after this nice run up that we've had here. Okay, they haven't come back down once to take any liquidity. See, there was no, it's always been a higher low, higher low, higher, 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 higher. Okay, and then they finally stalled out at just under 12,000. Okay, or actually I think it was 11,000 where price stalled out. Let me just get an exact reading on this. Price stalled out at, yeah, 11,703 was the high on this chart. It didn't hit 12,000, and then it rejected, and it's grabbing liquidity here, filled the gap on this feed, grabbed the liquidity here, came down here on the low, grabbed the liquidity right under this low here, rejected, went higher, but then failed and came down and took even more liquidity. Okay, so what I'm driving at here is I think there's a ton more liquidity to be soaked up. This is my first target right here. See these old highs coming in off of here? That's my first target. So you could even call this the 9,000 level, I guess. You could bring this down here, and you could even say price, I believe, is going to want to reach for this level. I think that's the next target. You know, ish. I'm just using a round number. These are the exact highs here on this broker feed that I'd be aiming for, but that would be a nice round number. So it's just kind of going to all depend on if this candle here or the next subsequent few candles wants to trade higher and start closing higher than here, then price may want to come up, and it may want to get up to this level over here. I just got to get this right about there, about, yeah, right in around here. And I'm just using a round number. It could run up, plus or minus a couple hundred points off of that, but it shouldn't get much higher than that. If it does, then the downward trend is over. So basically, if it gets higher than this in here, then I would expect it to start rallying these highs up in here. But I think it's putting in the highs right now. It's come back. It's grabbing liquidity, and I think we're going to probably see lower prices. So just watch price in here. Again, I don't want to put out a signal right now because I wanted to see if this was a 3-hour live trading session, then I'd say, yeah, let's sit here and watch price and see what it does. I'm not going to be on here for maybe about another 10 minutes, so I don't want to sit here and watch price. I'll let you watch that for yourself, but I think, if price does not want to break that high and close above these candles, like, it could come up and wick into it one more time, right? But if price closes, if the body of the candle, if we have a green candle that closes above this high right here, watch price, because it could start creeping up again. And I would kind of leave this as the last level of last line of defense before price got above here. So I'd want to see, if it does get higher than here, this would be where I'd want to see price stop. And not go any higher than that, like right at that level. And that's basically this small consolidation range right in here. See how price kind of wicked up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Spent a lot of time in this area. It's a significant level, so if price goes through that, then it's going to be looking for higher prices, okay? So do not go short on this if it goes higher than that, but watch price if it starts to wick, really wick in here. It can wick above here. If it starts to close, though, it's going to go higher, and it may come up to here. I'll be watching price up to there. But if it starts wicking in here, not showing a willingness to close higher, then I believe that's going to be kind of the telltale signs that we're going to see a nice sell-off on Bitcoin, and this would kind of be the target I'd be looking for. Sure, the lows under here, I would say, are going to be targeted fairly quickly, and I think they're going to want to drop price in a hurry. I don't think they're going to want to meander around and slowly take it down and let people get short on that move. Like, I think it's going to be something like this, where just bam, 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 just black candle, black, bear, 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 bear candle. You know, same here, where they just rammed it down. Not like this. You can kind of see here how they just really slowly took it up. You know, price really stair-stepped nicely up. You know, kind of took its time, came back down a little bit, gave people a chance to get in, get long, gapped it up, and then, you know, long. It really gave people a good chance to get long in here. Whereas this, they did not offer a chance for people to get short. They're just driving people out of the market here. They're taking out everybody who's long here is jamming their sell stops under the market here, and they're ripping them. They're ripping them away from them super quick. Look at that, just straight black closed candles, right? And then price slowly came up here, came up to an obvious institutional level, and then bam, sold off again. And just a quick sell-off. Slowly rallied back up here, give people a false sense of hope that this is going to rally all the way back here, so they can get on the other side, you know, get their head above water on all the longs that they went in over here, and then bam, they pulled the floor out under the market again. You know, did it here again, bam, pulled the floor out. And so price didn't really hit any significant level in my mind down here when it rejected, right? Like it, you know, yes, it took the liquidity under here, but there's so much more liquidity. I just think this is a false rally higher, and is what I think. And I think, you know, it could go higher. I don't think it's going to necessarily stop right here. Be mindful, it could go higher, okay? This is the line in the sand right here. If it breaks this, then we're going to see bullish prices. If it doesn't, though, watch out for 9,000, because I think that's where it's going to head. So watch for that, okay? And unfortunately, I don't have a specific, I'd like to put in a sell order in here, but I don't know how much strength is going to be on this, right? We could come up to here, or it could fail right where it's at. So I just don't want to put a signal out and then have price come up here and then, you know, everyone gets stopped out. You know, if you're an aggressive trader, I mean, you could certainly do that if you want to reduce your risk, and you could go short here and put your stop above here. But keep in mind, if they go higher in here, then they're going to want to take those highs out. So I would suggest you mitigate your losses very quickly on that trade. But I'm looking for lower prices on Bitcoin, so I'm going to watch for that. If you guys have any questions on this, right, I got the chat right in front of me here, so please throw your questions out. If you have any on Bitcoin at all, I can do my best to try and answer them for you. Crude oil, I issued a trade on crude oil earlier on in the day at 63.70 for a buy. Price came down on this candle right here, and you could have, some people may have got into this trade. I didn't. It missed my entry by literally a pip. It came down to 63.71. Let's see if I can pull that up, because I know you can't see the bottom part of my chart. Oh, there it was. Low 63.71 on this feed. Just missed my entry by a pip. And I've actually got another one here. You can see it better too. I'm down on the 15-minute. Give me this. Oh, there it is. Low 63.71. So I had a long entry at 63.70. Did not execute. Missed it by a pip. And then price traded off from there. Now, it wasn't a big trade off or anything like that. Had you got in, you could have captured a quick 30 pips on it. I would have suggested closing the trade because we were going into the end of the day. I actually didn't expect it to wick down here this late in the day. I was kind of hoping it would have done it earlier. So it pretty much saw the majority of the price action. So I am expecting higher prices on crude oil. I'll just go back to this other chart since I've got it all marked up. Oh, see, you can see it right here. I didn't actually even realize this. This was the entry from before. So I'm going to take this out now. I issued, I actually closed that trade because price shouldn't have come down twice on it. So I think that trade is going to be neutralized for now. I'd like to see price trade higher from here, but I don't necessarily like the entry. If price wants to come back down into, let's say, this consolidation range in here, a little bit lower at 63.50, then I might consider getting long again. But so far, price has kind of been showing a little bit of weakness here, so it could continue downward until crude oil inventory numbers come out on Wednesday. So Tuesday's trading, we could see something like this happen. Tuesday could come all the way down to here. It may stall right in here, or it could come down where I've got this other red line down here at 62, basically 50, somewhere in this range here. It could want to come back down to here during Tuesday's trading, and then come Wednesday, this is Tuesday, so it'd be more like over here into Wednesday, and then Wednesday potentially seeing the run up after the crude oil inventory numbers come out. So that's what we could end up seeing. But I'm just going to kind of watch this going forward. Again, I apologize, guys. There's not a ton of signals to give you right now, just because the market is waiting to see what the U.S. dollar index is going to do and what the euro is going to do. With all this news coming out today, I'm electing to sit on the sidelines. It's far better to be highly accurate and profitable in your trades than to just jump into any old trade because it gives you some kind of weak signal and you think, well, maybe I can grab it for 50 pips or 40 pips or whatever, and it reverses on you and it takes 30 pips from you. It happens all the time. So you just kind of got to watch price and days where you've got a ton of news items like that coming up, and elect to just sit on your hands, sit on the sidelines, because there's no point. I mean, the point of trading is to be profitable, not to be cowboys, right? Have educated levels, have your trading rules set, and don't violate those rules. Make sure you're trading. And trading should be boring. It shouldn't be an exciting roller coaster ride. If it is, you're in it for the wrong reasons. You're an adrenaline junkie. I mean, you might as well go to the casino and throw it on red 32 and hope for the best. You need to be very disciplined and very patient in trading, and it took me a very long time personally to realize that myself. But I can tell you, my bank account is definitely showing the difference from being a patient trader versus being a impatient trader. So you just got to watch and study levels, and this is another one that I'll be watching and studying. I hope price goes up from here. I really do. I just hope it keeps on going from here, but I think we could see a bit of a retrace on this first. So I'll watch on that. And really, that's about it. Bitcoin, like I say, there's some levels there to watch. US CAD, I think, this could be a good trade. This is what I'm watching for here. I got a note here to watch this one, and I'm just looking at the news again. Apart from this US dollar news, I don't want to be taking a trade on CAD until this stuff finishes, okay? See these 2, 3 trading events right here? You don't want to be trading anything US dollar related until these are done. So that's at 6:30 a.m. New York time. I'm sorry, 8:30 a.m. New York time. So you want to wait for those two at least. This shouldn't be too big of an issue. It might put a little bit of volatility, but I don't think it's going to whipsaw 100 pips in either direction like this could, because there is a plethora of low impact news as well too. But definitely watch CAD, and I'd like to see, like I say, price come down. I'll go down to the lower time frame. I'd like to see price come back down into this little area in here. See this little area of consolidation? I'd like to see price come back down into this. So hopefully they would see how they're consolidating price nicely right here. I'd like to see them start coming down here, tag off of this level, and then run higher. And that's where I want to see if it's got enough willingness to hit the 12800 level from there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on CAD. But be careful, because again, with all that US dollar news, price could easily whipsaw underneath here, grab the liquidity, and then jam higher. So if you just went long arbitrarily right here and just put a pending order in or something like that, you could get a possibility of getting stopped out. I typically put my orders in with a 30 pip stop loss, and that you can see there. That'd be if price wanted to come that deep. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be that deep. I mean, maybe this low here, or maybe it wants to take out these lows here. But you can see, I mean, look at my end of my pointer there. There's 30 pips there. There's 40, 50 pips there. There's 65 pips there. These equal lows under here would be a nice target range. There's 70 pips. So you want to be sitting in a 70 pip drawdown before price finally decides to reverse. I don't think so, but watch what happens when price comes into this level here. I would love to see a reaction and price start to run higher. And that comes in at 126. Why are these things so big? 126.30 would be, what's the high on this candle here? 126.38. So I'd be starting to look for reactions probably, well, 126.35. Let's go there. That's kind of where I'd want to see price start to react at and trade higher if it comes down here. So watch price if it gets into there and wants to just sort of start to wick and go down, then we're hopefully going to see higher prices ensue. But if price passes through here, if it gets through sort of the 50% range and starts to get through this level here and close lower into this consolidation range, then it's going to be dropping lower. So you don't want to be buying anything there until it finishes dropping. So we'll be watching this one for tomorrow as well too. But that's really about it, guys. Last thing here I just want to discuss real quickly, so live session updates. So just kind of give you the schedule. So obviously for this week we're on Tuesday, so we won't need to go through there, but I'll just kind of write this out for you real quick. Okay. And sorry, I know this might be a little bit tedious for just a second here, guys, but you'll see sort of what I'm driving at here. Thursday. And Friday. Okay. So this week here, so this is today's session. This is right now, okay? We're doing this one right here, so this one's done. And going into next week, this one may change, okay? So Tuesday, London Open complete. Tomorrow, we're going to do London Open, and we're going to be trading the, my analyst is going to be on, and he's going to be trading the Euro USD, the USD CAD, and potentially another pair of the, I don't know, but those are going to be pretty much the predominant pairs that he's going to be looking at, I would imagine, for the London Open. So this is the same as it's always been, no change here. This is what we're going to trade. Now, Wednesday, New York, this is the new one here, and what we're going to be doing here, New York Open, it'll be at 9 a.m. New York time, and we'll be trading the S&P, gold, and USD yen. Okay. Oh, wow, that's so big. God. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay. So that's what we're going to be looking at for Wednesday. So this is the new session that's going to be happening this week. Thursday, I have New York Open here. I believe I'm going to keep Thursday as London Open. So same time, same place Thursday as we are today. So no change there. And then Friday, New York Open, which is again is going to be the same time as here. So Thursday, London Open, we'll be trading and looking at, you know, obviously all the stuff that we looked at today, several other commodities and things like that. Friday, New York Open, it's going to be like Wednesdays. Okay, so it's the same analyst who'll be going through S&P, gold, and UJ, all at 9 a.m. on Wednesday and Thursday. So this is the new stuff that's going to be happening. Now, going into next week, what I'm thinking of doing, I might just switch up these two. You see this Wednesday London Open and Thursday London Open. I'm sorry, Tuesday London Open and Thursday London Open. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Tuesday session and change this to a New York Open. Only because putting out trades Tuesday at this time, like it's great to get into some pending orders, but it's kind of nice to be trading in New York just because the market has made its higher, made its low, and it's a lot easier to key off certain levels, and I can actually get more trades off and more signals out to you guys live in the New York session. versus the London Open. I only did London Open because it's convenient for me in my time frame, in my time of day. Not that the New York Open isn't convenient, but it's just a little bit more conducive for my style of trading. So that's why I elected to do the London Open. But I think next Tuesday, I think I'm going to switch it to the New York Open. So I'll let you know this Thursday if I'm going to do that. And we could just try it for next week too, right? I mean, that's not a problem. But my New York Open will actually be starting a little bit earlier, and it'll be going at 8 a.m. So it'll be starting an hour earlier for next week. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. I know this kind of looks terrible on here. But going forward, tomorrow, everything's the exact same. We have the Edition, New York Open, 9 a.m. New York time, trading these guys here. Thursday will be the exact same. And then Friday, again, exact same as what we've been doing. So that's what you can expect for this week. And I'll give you guys another update of this next week, just to make sure you're all on par, and so you can keep abreast with those times. But that's, I think, about it. I'm going to run through these pairs real quick here. Euro USD not doing nothing. Pound dollar still sitting in that consolidation range. US yen doing nothing. US CAD doing nothing. Aussie sitting there, same thing. Bitcoin looks like it's moving a little bit higher. So we could see these highs swept up in here, and then I'd be looking for this to be traded up to, and I want to see what would happen, the reaction that would ensue at this level here. It might even happen a little bit lower. You see, again, this consolidation area right in here. I'm just going to borrow this guy here and bring it over. You see how there's, right about there, there's some lows, body lows in here. I'd be interested to see if those want to get traded back to. Those lows come in at, the close was 10.58. So about $100 less than this price right here. Somewhere between there and here, I'd be looking for price to reject and then to start trading lower. I don't want to see price take out the highs here. If it does, it's going to continue higher. So watch that on Bitcoin. If you guys are going to look at trading this short, and just bear in mind, right? I mean, I've been calling it for a while now. We're going to go lower, I believe, on Bitcoin. I don't think this is the low. I think it's going to keep going higher. I'm sorry. I don't believe this is the low. I think it's going to continue to go lower from here. But, whoops. Oh, Jesus. Sorry, guys. But as any price needs to do, after a nice run up like this, it's got to, collect some liquidity before it can go down. So I think that's just kind of what it's doing in here. It may have hit some resistance, and then it's going to see lower prices. Crude oil, again, not much going on crude oil. It's sitting there pretty much chopping sideways. Copper, I'm not trading copper right now. There's nothing there to trade. I was expecting run lower down here. I kind of talked about this in my weekly review as well too. I wanted to see trade lower down into a buy area here, and just screamed higher. So the highs here are going to eventually get taken out, and unfortunately I'm not going to be part of that to see it. We missed the entry right in here. To be honest with you, I wanted the entry back down here, but we didn't quite get it, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Coffee. Price has really traded off on coffee now. It's failed to make another low. See how price came down, created a low, traded off of that low, failed to make a high, and kind of consolidated and then dropped back down. Failed to make a low, so that's kind of interesting. Let's see if price wants to come down and trade off of these bodies here, and then look to go higher. We could see some higher prices coming on coffee for the short term. But just keep in mind, seasonally, very, very bearish, so don't go buying it willy-nilly yet. Let's see what happens. Cotton, here's my entry. I want to see price come down, and I'm actually going to put out a signal for this. I want to see price come down to the old highs in here. So 0.7950. I'd like to see a run up higher, and then I want to see prices come and trade higher than the highs up here. But we'll just use these body highs here as kind of a judge. So those come in the form of right there, and it's about 183.75 would probably be a good level to start taking profits at. there, if price wants to come all the way down to here. That's what I'm going to be watching for. So I'm going to put a signal as soon as I see price trade down here. Have a stop at, say, just below here, I think. Maybe not that low. Probably 179 even. Would probably even be a good level. Somewhere in right around there. A little bit lower than halfway through that candle there. I want to see price trade down and then reject and trade higher. So that's cotton. So that is actually one that I will put out there. I'm going to watch. We could be a couple days away from that. I don't necessarily think that we're going to see price stab down there in one day, i.e. being, tomorrow. I think we may see a price just slowly come down there and then start to trade higher. So we'll watch for that. Sugar, nothing going on sugar. Broke my entry points. I didn't put a trade out or anything because I wanted to see what would happen. And get rid of all these levels in here, clean that up a little bit. And then kind of traded back down. It's really messy in here. I don't really like this very much, so I'm not going to look at anything there. Orange juice, I think we may come back down lower on orange juice just a little bit. This was actually a nice area right here, if you could have got a long off here. And what I'd actually like to see, if price fails to break this low, that could be a great long on orange juice. Now seasonally, just keep this in mind. Orange juice, February to March, it is moderately bullish, and then from March on, it does get fairly bullish till about the middle of the month. So we could see some higher prices on orange juice coming. And it came down, and let me just see the levels in here that I got. Traded rate, almost traded rate off of this high right here. Almost. And I've got a notes down. I've got some notes in front of here that I did here. So I'm just kind of looking at some levels. 140, 81. Wait a minute. Sorry, I found 40, 81 right here. So these were the lows in here. I think we could be reaching for these highs up here easily, up in this area here. This could be a good signal here. Price did fail though, so just keep that in mind. Price failed to make a new high, and then it started to trade softer. If price goes lower than this low here, watch out because it could want to come into here. But if price trades into this level right here, I'm going to put an arrow right here so we can get a figure on that. The high of this candle comes in at 143.12. So I would even say 143 even. Somewhere right around there. Price trades down into here, wicks down, and wants to look like it's going to reject. We could see some higher prices on this here. But keep in mind, it could want to come down and take out this low here, this swing low. So just keep that in mind and then bounce off of here. I'd be looking for a bounce if it did want to do that and come back. Kind of what it did here. You see how it came down and wicked in here? I missed this trade last week. I wasn't looking at it, but it had a nice little bounce, and then today it traded softer. So if this is going to be a confirmed bullish move, price is not going to want to break this candle here. It could trade down into it, and I may even want to wick below here, but just watch. We could get a good entry on that. So I'm going to be watching that one tomorrow. I'm going to put that on my radar as well. If I see something in orange juice, I will put that trade out. So that would be orange juice and cotton. Just give me 1 second, I'm just making some notes on this here. So cotton comes down. I'd like to see it come down to 0.7950. $79.50. And then OJ was a bounce off of 14300. 1,4300. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. So if you guys are members, you will be getting those signals directly to your phone instantly as they happen. I'll be watching these ones come through, and I'm going to hold off putting out a signal on that yet. That's a nice trade. That could be a real nice trade, guys. Again, what's going to negate it is if it breaks this level here and goes lower than here, then it's going to want to trade back into here. And I don't want to see that. But price did fail right here. Now again, seasonally, orange juice is showing a bullish tendency this time of year until about the middle of March. So we could have another couple of weeks yet before the bullish run is over. But you can see how price ran down and had a nice bullish move upward, and it's now coming back down to this consolidation area. We could see this if price does not break this level here. We could see this run higher. So what did I say? 1,4300. Let's just dial this in a little bit here. See, there's a bit of a gap right here. The price may come down a little bit lower than 1,4300. It could come down to 142 even as well too, somewhere in this area right here. This small consolidation range right in here is what I'd kind of be looking at. So we're going to watch that, and it looks like price is doing a pretty good job of getting down there now. Like I say, it may not happen today. It may take a day or two to get down there, but we're going to watch for it. And I'll put an alert out and a signal at that level there, and then we'll get that thing looked at when it happens. I think I don't think price is going to hold here. I think it's going to want to come down because there is a bit of a gap here and some areas down here of inefficiency that I think we could get to. So we'll watch and wait and see how that one pans out for tomorrow. So got a couple things to look at, guys. I am going to wrap it up here a little bit early, only because I mean, look at this. Like, there's really nothing to trade here. So instead of boring you guys with a whole lot of jawbone and yapping here, I'm just going to end it now. Thanks very much for showing up. Appreciate your time. I don't see any questions in the chat, so obviously I've explained myself fairly eloquently to you, and hopefully you got what you came for. Again, don't forget these live session dates here. Same time, same place tomorrow for our London Open Wednesday, and then the only addition for this week is this Wednesday New York Open time that we're going to add in there as well too. Okay. So we will talk to you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day. Have a great Tuesday. And remember, we will be sending out some signals after the news events start coming out here on Tuesday. So we'll see you then. Thank you.